What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? I am getting ready to do this presentation for y'all, hopefully tomorrow, where I show you how to design and press some socks. And then we're going to do a class that will start. I'll have a class Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'm going to do the same class. I'm going to run it 3 times. And before I get ready for that class, though, I got to do a good mock-up for you guys. So I just took photos of the actual socks on my little iPhone on one of these hardboards, and I'm going to make my own mock-up as well as my own template. So I know y'all ask me about this all the time. How do you make templates out, for something, a substrate that you have? A lot of times you have masks and all kind of other items, random items that don't come with templates. They don't come with mock-ups, and this is just one of the ways in which you can do that. Okay, so the first thing that I did is I went ahead and brought in a photo that is not necessarily to scale, because when you bring in a photo, it's not going to be to scale. And then I created a rectangle that is to scale of the width of the sock here. So these are the socks that we're offering. I have not uploaded them on the website yet because I have to have my templates on point, mock-ups, and then my tutorial before I offer any product, because I don't like to just offer product without the support that goes with it. And once I have that recorded and uploaded, I'll launch the socks on the website. But they come with these inserts already in them. So it's going to come with the cardstock in them. You won't have to load that up. It's going to be pretty much a print, press, and go type of deal. And the reason why I prefer this is because, for instance, when I'm doing the pop-up events, I did the sneaker conventions, and these were my saviors because I have the jigs. I have like the hardboard jigs, but it is way too time consuming to be loading and unloading those things, especially when they're hot. And I had to do that over Christmas because of the style of the sock that I purchased. So I went ahead and had some manufactured that are going to have the inserts, or that have the inserts already in them. And they're 3 different sizes right now. So I have, this is your standard size. It goes up to like a men's 11. And then this is the extra large. It goes up to a 13, 14. And of course they stretch. And then this is I call this the youth and the small ladies shoe size. So it's like, I think a kid size, I can't remember the size right now. I think it's a kid size 1 or 2, all the way up to the lady size, that really the ladies that wear the kid size shoes, that's pretty much that size. But the ladies can also wear this middle one as well. I know I wear the middle one. If I wear the long one, this little heel part comes up a little too high for me, even though I have big old feet. I don't wear men's 10 quite. So that's pretty much men's 10 and up. We'll go for that one if you want it to be a little bit longer and have a little bit more room where the heel is. All right, and these lay flat, and the reason why the heel is black is because sometimes the way that socks are sewn, the heel doesn't lay exactly flat, and when it doesn't, it leaves white marks and voids where the ink is not able to permeate, or the dye is not able to permeate into the polyester. So we resolve that by making it black. The reason why I made the toe black is because for the longest sock, this is almost exactly 18.5 inches. And you don't have to worry about trying to sublimate the very bottom of this toe, and you don't have to use extra long 21-inch paper in order to sub this long behind sock. So I was very strategic about that. So all of these can be done with 13 by 19 paper, and I'm going to show you 2 different methods when we press them. One is what I call the taco method. That's where I split the design and I fold the paper and do 1 sock per folded paper. And then the other is the front and back method. So I'll show you both of those methods when I press tomorrow. So for today, this is the work that I'm performing. I figured I'll let y'all in on my live work, and I guess you can see my mistakes as I go and things that I run into, and chat with me. Chrissy Poo, that's a very good question. If I have enough, I have these custom manufactured to whatever length that I want. So if I have enough enough interest in the calf length, I absolutely will consider that. And but then we'll have to have one for each sock as well. So each sock size would not only have to have the crew length, but we'll also have to carry the calf length, which is not a problem if we have enough I guess interest in those. Octavius, you're saying you can't hear? Can anyone else hear? Is my volume real low, or am I just speaking low? I mean, I guess me turning my volume up ain't gonna do anything. That's my speaker. And Vegan Life, let me know where you messaged me because I have help answering the text messages, emails, Facebook messages, and I barely ever answer my personal messenger. So let me know how you message me, and I'll look out for you on that. Absolutely, Chrissy Poo. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on with this. I was trying to just mask away the outside of this, but I didn't like how it was doing because of the shadows. So I'm gonna use my pen tool more than likely. All right, good. I'm glad y'all can hear. Uh, So let's do the pen tool. And because I'm doing it on my big screen so you all can see, I'm not able to use my stylus, which is the easiest way to use the pen tool. So I'm just going to use the mouse just like I would be telling y'all to use. Zoom in a little bit. And these are the reason why I chose these socks is because when I was doing the sneaker convention, folks wanted socks that were decorated all the way through so that when they wear their slides, they can still show off the full sock design that matched whatever sneaker or, would have whatever theme. So even if they're wearing their Nike slides, they're still kind of fly and it still goes with their outfit, that sort of thing. So that's why I chose the smoother sock without the ribs in it. And if we have enough interest, we can do those sport style socks too. I have to keep it simple. When I offer something, I really want to work on the quality, work on you all knowing and learning how to use it. Um, that's one of my main goals when I do the templates and everything like that. So once I get that under control, then we can talk about expanding the product line and that sort of thing. All right, so what I'm doing with this pen tool is I'm just clicking and dragging, and I can clean this up later. It does not have to be perfect, but this will be a vector shape that I'm creating, and I'm going to turn it into a layer mask when I'm done. And because this vector is going to ensure that I have really smooth lines, that I have a lot of control over what I am cutting out and what I'm keeping. And this just takes practice. I have a whole tutorial just on playing with the pen tool, practicing this, and I'm still not the best at it. I'm probably maybe like 2 years into like really using this regularly. And I've been doing Photoshop for almost 20 years, so that shows you how hard-headed I am when I tell y'all to do things the easy way. Don't work harder, work smarter. I'm getting a little bit of brown in there, so I'm trying to avoid that. And once I get this how I want it, I am going to turn it black and white. So really that little bit of brown is not going to be concerning. It's going to look like shadow. But I mean, when you do something, my dad used to tell me to do it right or don't do it at all. He said, if you can't find the time to do it right the first time, you will never find the time to redo it. So just little lessons that I pass on to you all. I like my little daddy stories. A lot of y'all tell me I like them too. So, and he was one of those community dads. So pretty much everybody called him dad. He worked at the federal prison, and even the female prisoners there would or inmates there would call him dad as well. So I share my daddy with y'all. All right. So here at the top, this has a little curve to it, and that curve is making it not look flat. So I'm probably going to change that. Now, we don't need the insert to show in the mock-up, of course, but it might be something that you end up keeping in there just because it's easy to package it. Now, I lost my edge there a little bit, so I may have to adjust this because it's so opaque. I can turn the opacity down. That way I can see while I'm doing this. I probably should have done that in the first place. And close it off. That last one was messed up. Let me go back a couple times. One more. And turn the opacity down. I'm just clicking and dragging, getting my curves. Alright, so that one had like an extension on the beginning of the curve. So in order to fix that, I'm going to have to go in with my direct select. There we go. My direct select tool, and I can select a particular node. That one right there, and I'm going to pull that handle down so I can control it, make it look more tamed. Alright, so if I zoom out, that's what I'm looking like. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create 2 duplicates of this back, because I'm going to cut out each side individually. I wanted them side by side so I can get an idea of what my optimal design space would be and how much longer they were. So that's a good presentation for me. Now what we can do with this shape layer, if I go back to my pen tool, it did create a shape here. I can, let me just choose, I'm just going to control click here because I'm not going to worry about keeping it. I think it's good as it is. I'm going to go ahead and do a clipping mask here. So I held down control, selected my thumbnail here, and when you hold down control, select the thumbnail, it selects all the inside meat, all of the active pixels. And the active pixels are inside that black. Now I'm going to take it to this photo layer and I'm going to create a layer mask. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn off this black. And I have, like I said, I have some black and white, a black and white adjustment layer, and then I also have a levels adjustment. So if I want to see more of the ribs up there at the top, I'm going to increase my levels, kind of create a little more intentional contrast there, just so that, and I'm going to keep a little bit of gray in there because, as you know, if you just have something pure white, if you try to mock it up and look like it's really, you know, a fabric, you don't understand that. Your eye doesn't understand that unless it has some depth to it. So that's why I like to kind of increase that contrast there with the levels so I can see a little bit more of the shadows, especially when it's an all white or all black product. Gotcha. Vegan Life. Message me on the Innate Lab business page, if you will, because I will check that one. And usually, if whoever's helping me can't answer a question, they'll direct it to me. And that's the best way. I have like over 100 something unread messages in my personal messenger, and that thing like intimidates me every day I look at it. So sometimes, like on the weekends, I'll just sit and go through stuff, and I know at this point in time, it's just the best I can do just being one person, but I am working on that. Okay, so I also wanted you to see here, since we did a straight up layer mask based on that straight vector shape, I'm getting a little too perfect of edges here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to I'm double clicking on the mask, and I'm going to feather it just a little bit. If I feather it, it looks a little more realistic, and I can show you an extreme feather. And then I'm just going to feather it just a little. So I get a little more depth, and to me it's a little more realistic rather than just a hard line. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I'll wait because I can feather them all at once. No, well, that's fine. We'll do 5.8. If I remember a 6-pixel feather, then I'm good. You can also go to selected mask and you can refine the mask here, get a little more into that, and then you can shift the edge inside or outside. So I can do a feather from the inside or I can feather from the outside. And I like to keep a little bit of that shadow in there. And more than likely, I'll even create my own shadow when this is all said and done. Bring that feather down just a little bit. And then I can tell it to remember these settings, and it'll remember it next time I perform this same refine mask. All right, so good on that. Now, of course, I'm gonna have to do the same thing to the other one, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my adjustment layer just so it's easier to see that brown. I'm gonna Control D to deselect, and let me turn on my little annoying helper here. All right, that way y'all can see what I'm clicking on. And we're gonna go back at it, Control plus. I'm trying to zoom in, I need to be on my move tool though. Control plus, let's get on in there. And let's start with the pencil once again. The good thing about creating your own mock-ups, you don't have to be perfect, but your tools can help it look like it's perfect. And I'm not the mock-up queen. Like, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to mock-ups. So I like to keep it simple. Now that is the one thing that I do keep simple. Most of the time the mock-ups, as far as creating them from scratch. Some people, yeah, I mean, you might want to put them on forms. I actually do have sock forms. They're like mannequins, but just for feet. And they're made out of plastic. I display with those, but I don't do that whole, photography session where I have the white box and place the images in the white box. And, I'm horrible when it comes to photography. Octavius is here and he is a professional photographer. He knows how to do all that stuff. So, Octavius, that might be something that you think about doing, product photography. And people send you their products and you take really good high quality photos. And then that way they can make mock-ups from that, or you can offer the services to make their mock-ups. That's a really big deal. Especially for people who really do care. Like, I'm taking the time to make my own mock-ups because I care that my product represents what I'm actually selling, versus just going with a generic mock-up that I may be able to get from Etsy or something. Which that's an alternative as well. I'm pretty sure somewhere, someone along the lines of that product has created a mock-up. So use your Google-age skills and find it if you don't want to create it. There's been times where I've had to find stuff when I didn't want to create it or didn't have the time to create it. It's not always about what you want. Sometimes it's about what you need and where you're needed. Alright, so I'm trying to find that little curve right there. And of course the socks are never straight across the top. I really wish they were. It makes it harder whenever you have like a band. I try not to do designs where it has like a horizontal line across the top, because 9 times out of 10, this is going to be curved in some way that is not going to look like a real, tight knit band, because that's what it's kind of mimicking. All right, so that one looks like it did what it needs to do. I'm going to select this image here, and because the shape is already selected, I should be able to hit here, turn that one off. And let's go instead of shape. Should have done path. Oh, it already created it as a different shape. That's cool. I'm just going to control click it. get those active pixels. Let's turn off any layer that I'm not actively working on. And let's go ahead and create a layer mask. And if we remember, double click here. I think I feathered it 6 pixels there, did selected mask. And same here. I'm not even going to check the settings. I just know that I believe I have it set to the same thing every time. And now I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer mask and go ahead and create a new one based on my new settings. And I think I forgot to do that for this one. So let me check. So I may have even gone through all the trouble of doing my selected mask. And I believe I did. So let me do this. Delete that layer mask, and I'm going to create a new one. Yeah. All right, so 1, 2, I can turn that one off. 1, 2, I have one more to do. And you see what I'm saying when it comes to like creating all these different levels of products and stuff? So I definitely want to make sure that I'm able to stay on top of this stuff, because all these different mockups can drive a person crazy. Now I have to basically delegate that. And that's probably one of my worst things about myself, is I don't delegate. Not well. And I think that's probably a lot of our issues as creatives. We don't quite believe anybody can do it quite like us, so we take it all on and we end up biting off way more than we want to chew. Not that we can't chew, because I believe if it's something that you want to do, you'll find a way to do it. But at what expense? So I'm learning. I think we're all learning. That's what say y'all teach me stuff too. All the time. Now that one I went a little too far down. I can see that brown right there. I don't want that. So I'm going to cut it a little closer this time and take my time. I don't like to do a lot of nodes because then it looks choppy. But if you do too little nodes, you end up trying to make something work that doesn't work. And I don't even know why I'm zoomed in this close, because it is not necessary to be this perfect. I'm trying to get every little groove and every little piece of fuzz that's hanging off the sock and all, when I could just be clicking and dragging, making some semi-straight lines here, and go with the flow. Here we go. Now I'm moving faster. And one thing about these handles, you never want one handle to go beyond the other, because it makes some kind of very odd transitions. So you want your handle to stop before the other one. Otherwise, if they cross, it's just like people. If people cross, then you have a problem. So give people their space, especially in these Corona streets. Give folks their space. Give these handles and these nodes their space too. All right, there we go. Almost done. Closing it off. And like I said, that one, because I closed it off and I had already pulled that handle, it did this weird little hump. And I'm going to fix that by going to my direct select tool, which is that white arrow. I'm going to click on that and see how it made that handle kind of act inappropriately. We're just going to fix it. There we go. All right. So backing it up, we shall go back to the pen tool instead of a path. Oh, now I get my option to make a mask. So I'm going to make a mask. There we go. Now that's a vector mask. You see the difference between a vector mask and a bitmap mask? The vector mask has a gray background. That means I could still go in and edit these nodes. So once you have committed it to the marching ants type of selection, then it is no longer editable as far as vector goes. So I'm actually going to go ahead and rasterize that vector mask. Now you see it's a bitmap or a rasterized path. And Same thing here, double click. Let's go. Select a mask. I'm just going to choose the same settings. I'll delete the current layer mask. And I'm going to do a fresh one based on my new selection. And looks good to me. Now what I can do is right click and I can apply the layer mask. If I'm really sure that it is what it is, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply the layer mask by right clicking on the name of the layer. And where are we? Nope, I lied. I'm going to right click on the mask. Oh, it's not letting me do it because this is a smart object. So I have to rasterize these layers too. So let's right click on the name of the layer, rasterize. So now these are no longer smart object, which this is fine because I have them whatever size I need right now. And now I can right click and apply the layer mask. So now it's just cleanly one image. Right click, apply layer mask. Right click, apply layer mask. All right. So that's it. That's my horrible lighting. Oh my gosh, in this house, it's like some horrible, definitely for photos, horrible lighting. Let's see. We have the back, now we have to do the same for the front. Same deal. And I did try to use my shape here to make certain it's about the same width, which is 3.75. So with the insert, it's 3.75 inches, and we're going to give it a little bit of bleed, of course, but we're not even on that part yet. We're just on the cutting out the images. Okay. Okay, all right, Vegan Life. Remind me when I get off of this live to check the email. All right. Same old thing, same old thing. Let's do the front. And I guess what I'll do, I'm going to do one set. I'm going to do the center set because y'all probably don't want to see me cut out all these things. And if I get tired, I'd rather poop out on duplicating the same process than showing y'all the actual meat and potatoes of what this project is all about. So I have my pen tool. I'm going to go through the same process here. And this time, instead of starting at that very top corner, I'm going to start down here. So I have a little more control when I close up that path. And this time I'm moving a little faster, feel a little more comfortable. And while you're using tools like the pen tool, you can use your space bar and pan. So it doesn't stop my use of whatever tool I'm doing. Same thing with your selection tool. You can space bar, pan, get to where you need, and continue whatever selection process you're doing. And like I said, see how I have space between these handles? Give them space. Unless you're trying to create some kind of really funky shape. And most of the time it's not going to be something that's very like believable or naturally occurring. But you might be creating some abstract art and you want your you want that intersecting of the handles just to give you some really extreme curves. And by extreme curves, I mean crazy looking curves. It's not like, you know, boom, bam kind of curves. It's, you wouldn't expect it kind of curves. It's going to create loops and, yeah, let me show you. I'll show you when I get up here to this corner. All right, so see what I'm doing here? See how I create some crazy looking stuff when I start getting too wild with these handles and how they cross? That's not what you want. For the most part, it's not what you want. Don't want that. So I'm just gonna be smooth with it and create my little natural, believable shapes. And I should have flattened the top of this sock out just a little bit more so it wouldn't have this little dip down here. But that's what it is, so that's what I'm going to report. I'm darn sure not going to take this picture again. And I would think maybe it's just the lighting. Because I thought that these iPhones were a lot better in pixel quality than this. But I guess I should have gotten 11 or something. I don't know. Alright, and there's a little cut off there, but that's fine because it won't be, it'll still be believable with the shadow. Alright, so thing here, we're going to do I need to duplicate this layer before I do any kind of mask. Okay, so now I can do a mask. And I can turn off these other layers. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and rasterize that mask. Double click. Select a mask. Okay. And just because I changed the selection does not mean that that changed my my layer mask here. That's why I deleted and recreated based on the active pixels. What that does is help me preview it. Right? Now the other one that when you double click on it, this one does change it actively. But this one does not give you the same options. Okay, so let me undo that, back up. So I now have a front and a back for my standard size. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this one just like we did before. Oops, I double clicked on that smart object. I meant to just rasterize it. There we go. Right click, apply the layer mask. I'm going to call this one front medium. And then we're going to work with front medium and back medium. And I'm just going to stick with these two for right now. And I'm going to turn off anything that I'm not working with at the moment. So these rectangles, I'm going to delete them because I don't need them anymore. If I really needed to remask things, I could. I have to get used to cutting things down for you all because when I create a template, I have to make sure the file looks clean enough, and it already has a lot of layers, so I don't want to include anything that confuses anyone. Okay, alright, so let's see, we got it in real size right now, so I'm going to showcase the front and back at the same time. So now I'm going to take the front and back. My goal right now is to center them both and basically just see if they're going to fit within my my little jig here. Let me grab this pattern from here. Well, not the pattern, but this little printout. I can resize. And this is just helping me to see if my markup is straight because this is created off of an actual jig. The jig that that I had that was stretching socks out. So I don't use that jig anymore unless I have to. Some of you may have that jig. The jig that I'm talking about is like a hardboard. It gets really extremely hot. And that's why I didn't like it, because when I was trying to do multiple socks, I have like 8 pairs of, probably more than 8 pairs. And I was having to wait till certain sets cooled off and just having to switch between them. And it bothered me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably one of my least favorite processes. Like, I like the look of socks. I like the way that, you know, you can take a small product, a product that ships for next to nothing. because it's so light and so small, but I can charge the same amount that I charge for a shirt. But yeah, when it came to those jigs being hot and not being able to continuously work, I'm about performance. It has to have form and function. So yes, I want something to look good, but I also want it to do what it's supposed to do. All right, so now I'm gonna take my front and back socks, and I probably have to do this one at a time because I can't tell if they're exactly lined up. So I'm gonna do my best to line them up now with this jig. Because remember, this was a photo, so your girl didn't do exactly the best job taking it straight on. Like I didn't scan it, and I could have scanned these, but the scanning bed is only 11 by 17, and I knew that I was going to have to scan that long sock, so I just decided to take a photo. So anything that's oversized that you can't put on your scanner, I did the same thing for hoodies. I have a whole tutorial on how I created my own mock-up for a hoodie. And then there's some other things in play here. There's perspective in here. It's not just, a simple, I took an overhead image and it's perfect. So I may even have to play with the perspective, which I think I will because it's a little wider up here than it is down here. And I know that there is a consistent width insert inside of there. So it's the camera angle that's making this look more narrow right up to this edge. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this in, and then I'm going to do edit, transform, and I think I'm going to do distort because I'm going to take this little corner down here and I'm just going to pull it till I get what I want. There are a lot of different modes that you can use to transform. And like I said, this isn't about being perfect, but I do want to at least have some straight socks. All right, so that's the back. I think that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and pull the front in now. And I forgot this thing has color to it. So the color kind of helps me with where I want to put images, whether I want them to get have a bleed off or whether I want them to kind of connect with the next side of the design. So that's what we're going to be doing in the class, is making sure that we know not only how to make a pattern print, but also what the placement means on the mock-up, what the placement means on the printout. All right, so let me pull this front down a little bit. There we go. We'll Control T, do a little bit of rotating to get it as straight as possible. So I'm getting this left side straight first, and then I'm modifying the right side based on what I may have to do. Now I do need to check to make sure that my top and bottom are the same height, because I feel like this one's off a little bit. There we go. Hit enter, and this time I'm going to transform, distort again, transform, distort, and I can move each of these nodes separately. And I just want to make sure I can at least touch that gray. I'm good with that. Zoom out. I knew one was a little bit taller than the other, so that's the front and the back. So I'm going to take the front and bring the opacity down. And I'll do Control T just to see what my size is, and I'm going to check my properties here. And let's see. my width should be what, 3.75. So instead of the 100%, I'm going to right click and look at inches. And I'm going to tell it 3.75. I'm going to do the same thing to my front. Control T. My width is 3.75. Then that way my bleed is correct. And it's not impossible that this sock is like raised up in the back and dipped down in the front. So I'm not just assuming that the way that this image was set up should be perfect. But I am trying to make sure that when I do the design, it doesn't throw off your eyes because you see so much of a change between the front and the back. So let's do alignment. I'm going to align it across the bottom of the sock here. For both of these, and I do see it does dip down one side versus the other. So let's see which one is it that dips down. The front. I'm going to Control T, and I want to manipulate it to be the same height. There we go. And now I have less of a stark contrast between looking at the front and the back as far as the height of it goes. Let's turn up that opacity once again. And now I'm going to Alt click and drag. And I want them as close as I can get them because I like to continue my design. But that also means that you'll have some issues sometimes in making your design look continuous, especially if you're spelling words or anything of that nature. Now, let's say you want to do the sides of the sock instead of the front and back. You would have to take the insert out and put it back in sideways. You can try to rotate the sock while the insert is in there, but it ends up making these really wavy lines, and it's just best to take it out and reinsert it sideways instead. So I see some people like their socks sideways because you want to display whatever the logo is on the side of the socks, but then you end up with a faint seam through the front and back of the sock instead of on the sides. So it's all about, you know, your preference. For me, it's about how quickly I can get something done. And if the socks are already inserted a certain way, that's how I sell them. If anybody asks me to do anything different in my process, I just, you know, charge for the difference. Okay. So I have my front in front. I'm going to call this one left. And then we'll call this one right. So my fronts. And then my backs. Put those together. This one is left. This one is right. Group those and make that the back. See, I'll see what goes into making these things. I just be wanting y'all to see that I get a lot of well, not a lot. I have some people that will swear up and down that anything that I do or any of us teachers do, you know, is so easy to replicate. And that's why they have, you know, no respect for the process that it takes to do this type of stuff. And then that's also the same people that don't mind sharing files that they're not supposed to be sharing because they didn't put in the work. So I like to show y'all what I'm doing to just establish and reestablish, you know, what I do put in for you all. And also, because this shows you straight up and down how to do what I do for free. You never, ever, ever have to buy something from me. I always tell y'all that. I pretty much show you enough of the process that you can do everything that I do for yourselves if you want to. And I don't make people feel bad about wanting to either. First of all, because that's how I'm paid. And secondly, because I've been the person to purchase templates and to to do things that, if it were available, help save my time and grow my business. So I don't try to create websites from scratch anymore and all the other stuff that I used to try to do back in the day. I use templates. I get it going and get it moving. All right, so I'm pretty much happy with this as our basic setup. And I'm just gonna pay attention to this long one just to make sure it's gonna fit on this jig here. And we don't even, like, you see how we're going all the way down here? We're not even gonna have to do that because the socks that we're printing are, they have the black across the bottom. So we can pretty much cut off a whole inch to an inch and a half off the bottom of this as far as saving print area. And that's why we're allowed to do this whole long old sock here with the 13 by 19 page instead of having to cut 21-inch paper, which is what I had to do before when I had these same style socks that don't have the black toe or the color toe. It was just that little bit of extra space there caused me to have to cut custom paper. And I'm not about that life. I'm about putting one style of paper in, being able to use it for as much as possible. All right, so let's see, what else do we need to do? I'm gonna go ahead and turn off any layer other than what I'm working on right now. It's off. I'm gonna go ahead and just group this out of my face for right now. I don't like to see a lot of layers open. We have our outline here. And now we're gonna adjust the outline a little bit further. There we go. And I'm probably going to remake this outline only because I'm going to need to make certain that we have good bleed and spacing here. But I think this is good. I'm going to pull this down, have a little bleed. So I want you to pay attention to what this pink is doing for me, or the magenta. It's letting me know that I want to bleed outside of this area without bleeding out too much. If you have this product literally is not even 4 inches wide for each sock. So you don't need to print more than 8, maybe 8.5 inches wide. If you go printing the whole 13 inches of the 13 by 19, you're wasting a lot of ink and time, because the more ink that you lay down on this page, the longer it takes for this product to print. And I'm all about efficiency, doing the process over and over again, making sure that it can make you the most money for the time that you're spending doing something. So let's see here. I'm just going to fill in the inside of this just to give you an idea of what the actual size here is. I'm going to turn off this outline. And I'm almost spot on here, but I'm definitely still going to include a bleed. So let's do a new layer. And I'm gonna fill it in. Let's fill it in with this yellow. Excuse me, loves. Let's do paint bucket, fill it in with yellow, and then what I need to do is put it on, I like to put it on multiply. That way it looks like it's applied to the fabric. See that difference? There's normal, then there's multiply. And then if I want to see more, I guess more contrast there in the fabric, I would play with these levels. Create a little more contrast. But as you can see, it also makes the color a little less believable as that color. So just letting you know that that's a way. If you have something that's dark white and you want to see the wrinkles in it, you want to see the texture, then that's the difference between that pure color and me playing with the levels, which can make a significant difference in how you're presenting something to someone. So you got to be careful of that. You want to get as close to the color as possible without losing those details and looking washed out. So I'm just playing around with it here, and I'm happy right about there. I have enough detail to where I can see the ridges, but I'm still staying pretty true to that original color. All right, and then the black and white is on, obviously, to give it a gray tone. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a stroke around this, and I can go ahead and deselect so I don't see the marching ants anymore. And for this one, I'm going to do a stroke. So I'm going to do an effect here. So let's do a stroke. We'll do an outer stroke. And all I'm doing is just making sure I have a good amount of bleed area. I'm not even testing how much the bleed is, but I'm guessing that's somewhere, you know, maybe a little bit less than a 1/4 inch. And of course, this is measuring pixels. And I forget how many pixels are in an inch. We're doing 150 pixels. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to do the conversion. I'm just going to look at it by. These are 150 pixels per inch. Yeah, shoot, let's do the conversion. 150 pixels per inch. So that's 150 pixels in an inch. And I think I want to go with, I'm trying to think if I want a 1/2 inch or a quarter. A 1/4 inch is usually good enough for me. But if you slip up just a little bit and you're going too fast and you shift that paper a little bit, it'll be good on like one edge, and then you look at the extreme top of the other edge and it might have got cut off just a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe not even a half an inch is almost too much of a bleed. 75 pixels, of course, would be 1/2 an inch, because if we're doing 150 pixels per inch. So let's see what the 1/4 inch is, 37.5. So I'll say 50 pixels is good. That's a little over a 1/4 of an inch. Sure, we'll give it 60 pixels. Why not? All right, so when we give it 60 pixels, we can't tell what the size of the total width of it is until we actually create this as either a smart object. It'll give us the width of it, or we can rasterize it completely. And I'm just not ready to rasterize it completely. I choose a color, that's why I chose that magenta, something that will make me turn it off. If you choose something like black and you're not paying attention, or a really thin line, you're likely to leave that on, and then by the time you go print, you end up with a problem. So, and like I said, I may very well for this. I think I'm gonna leave it on because some of you don't have, and if you're using your own socks, I don't want to make you feel like you have to use my socks, but I will tell you that you'll save a little bit of space printing there and error printing there. If you've ever like let that paper fall a little bit short of the tip of that toe and saw that little white line across the tip of the toe, it'll throw your whole game off, your whole sock game off. So let's see, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna copy this layer name and paste it here. And I'm gonna get rid of that one. And then of course I'll make sure that this also works for the long socks. And as a matter of fact, I'll have to move the long socks in order to figure that out. So I'll do that later. All right, so back to the mock-up. We have the back. Let's make sure everything's clear on the front. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of shifting because this sock, you see how I'm seeing a little more white here than I do here? That means that I'm not quite adjusted like I wanna be. I'm gonna Control T, zoom in a little bit, and I'm gonna rotate this just a little. If I can, do it just a little. Sometimes it likes to be a little too extreme, and then I end up setting it right on one side and not on the other. And I'm okay with that. Now I'm gonna move my left sock to the right just a little. That makes me happier. And another thing you can do so that, it doesn't look like it's the same thing to the left and to the right, take the right one, Control T to transform it, right click, flip horizontal, and now it kind of looks a little like the reverse of that side, if that makes any sense. Sometimes seeing something exactly duplicated, um, it does something to your eyes. It makes you feel like it's fake. It's mocked up, of course. So something as simple as that, making it look like, oh, maybe it's a continuation of the sock rather than a repeat of the sock. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the back. And let's do the same thing to the right, Control T, right click, flip horizontal. And now I can see that even this one probably can be rotated just a little. Shift that one over a little bit, enter. And if we rotated one, then that means the other one needs to be rotated. They're one and the same, despite what we want people to believe, that they're two different socks. There we go. Now what I'm going to do for the final mock-up is I'm going to test it out. I hope that this works, but I hate when I do like a front and back design and whatever's sitting here in the middle does not continually wrap around the sock like I want. So what I'm going to do is create a smart object of this rectangular area, and I'm going to force it, hopefully I can do this properly, kind of force it to stretch those pixels out in the middle so that it has an opportunity to look like it's overlapping. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with that and make it work. But I run into that problem sometimes. Even if I do a really clean fold right here and I stick the sock into the fold really well, I'm still gonna look like I'm cutting off some of the letters when I have letters. So your best bet is to not have anything go across here that you don't mind it missing this amount of space. So if you had someone's face, when I do face socks, I don't mind if it's a pattern and it's not going to be that noticeable. But if it is like a one person's face that stretches clearly, from one sock to the other, I make sure that the main part of the face is on one sock and something else is on the other. I do not like, putting an eye on this side and an eye on that side. It looks stupid. I'm not gonna lie to you. It'll either look like it's the person's face is too wide, or it'll cut it off and make it look like, yeah, like basically their nose will be missing because it'll only have a little sliver of nose on one side, a sliver of nose on the other side, and just looks stupid. I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks stupid, so don't do it. And then you'll be, trying to get it right every single time and spending too much time. So a part of knowing what's easiest and most efficient is how you design stuff. All right, so I want to just show you all. So I got that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this fill completely down. So what I'm really looking at is my bleed area here. Then I'm going to control, select. I have to turn this into a smart object first. So I'm going to turn my fill back up. Let's right click, convert to a smart object. I'm going to control click the thumbnail and see how it gave me all of my active pixels, even with the stroke on there, because I turned the stroke into part of the object by making it a smart object. So now that's basically what I'm going to print. So what I like to do is create a nice clipping path or a clipping mask that whenever I lay all my stuff in there, it's just going to clean it up and make it something that doesn't have a background at all. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll group everything. And then we're going to put a layer mask on this whole group. And eventually I'll rename these groups based on what I want it to be. So if I do layer mask right now. You can't tell because there's no background on here, but let's say I wanted to do, let's say I want to do a wood background. And I have one saved, so let's do that one. If I can find it. I had a lot of randomness saved. Here we go. And let's just say that's a generic background you'll end up using. And I'm not sure. I think I will do it. Where the pattern goes opposite direction of the sock so I don't get confused. And I'm going to go ahead and right click and rasterize that because that is a huge, huge image, and I'm rasterizing it so that it makes it only as big as it needs to be for this purpose. Likewise, I'm just going to go ahead and take these active pixels, copy and paste so I can get rid of all that extraneous information. When you have Photoshop files, the more pixels and information you have floating on the outside of your image, it does make your file really large for almost no reason. Okay, so really we need two masks, right? We need a mask to just to mock up, and then we need a mask that's ready to print. So this mask right here is actually the print mask, right? So we're gonna put print with mask on. Now we have to turn off, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this layer. We have to turn on only the active pixels for the front sides or front or back. So let's see, we have back selected right now. I'm going to control select I'm on plus, gonna do this. Says let me do one at a time, and I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't confuse you. And I'm sure there's a better way to do this too. Oh, duh, I can just select the outside meat. So let's deselect. I'm going to use my magic wand tool and select the outside, like I said, the outside meat. And then I'll select the outside of this one, and I'm adding to, so it should, adding to, that's not gonna work. I need to now hold down control and select this one and replace it there. So my best thing for this is going to be to make the back a smart object and select all the stuff that's not a part of that smart object. I'm sure there was another way to do that, but that's my kind of quick. You see how fast that was. All right, so now that I have that selected, I'm going to basically have an area where I tell it to make, let's do another folder inside of here. New folder, and we're going to call this place art in this folder. And right now I'm just going to do a straight up let's go ahead and do that layer mask while I haven't selected. Okay. And then let's place our art. We're not even going to place art, we're just going to do a rectangle here. And I'm going to make sure my rectangle goes outside of my necessary printed area. Matter of fact, let's see, this was 8.2 inches, 8.3 inches. So I'm going to hit undo for that. So I'm going to tell it I want it 8.5 inches. So width is going to be 8.5 inches. And then my height is going to be 18.5 inches. And that should cover absolutely any one of these socks that we want to print. And of course, you can cut down on the print size if you're printing a smaller sock. Right, and again, I'm going to take whatever's in this folder and I'm going to make it multiply. But see how now you don't see the, let's disable that layer mask right there. Now you don't see that white outline there. And that's why we need to enable that mask when we get ready to print. Disable this mask when we get ready to print. And of course, you know, you will naturally disable everything underneath here. So I'm going to group that. And then we'll turn off to print. So we'll turn that off. Artwork. Obviously, I want it to Control T and make sure that my artwork, even if I wanted to print this, I'm going to make sure that I still have some bleed into this black. Your best bet is to just go ahead and let it bleed all the way to the toe. Although it's black, it may receive a little bit of color or more or less a tint from whatever you're printing. So it is possible. Let's say you had like a really red design. You might see, if you were only to bleed into this about 1/2 inch, you might see that red where it goes into the black and it'll just look like a red or black in that area. So if you want to avoid that, you can go all the way to the tip of the socks, even with the black. And then that way you don't ever run too close of a chance of basically missing your black altogether and having white. Now, if you have white there, you're definitely going to be able to tell. All right, so I think we're set up pretty good. Like that. All right, so now I'm going to place pattern here. So I'm going to duplicate this rectangle and turn my existing rectangle off. And let's do a pattern. And I've been playing with doing some patterns, and that's what I'm going to show y'all in the class. Let's see. So instead of a fill color, you can do gradients, you can do a pattern. These are some patterns already in Photoshop. And I'm going to choose a pattern that I created today. So I have one where I made a little dog pattern. We're going to learn how to do that. It's actually really fun. I thought it was going to be really intimidating to teach you all that, but I think I broke it down to a way that we're all going to be able to get through making our own pattern in class. And you can scale it. You can also change the angle of the pattern if you don't want it to look so straight up and down. Change that angle up. And this was a lot of fun. I also have the baby. So like I said, if we do straight up and down, it's going to look more of a, let me just put in 90 for the angle. It looks like a very predictable pattern, but you can also rotate it and make it look a little less predictable. Change the scale of it. And this is going to be so much fun, guys. All right, so I'm going to disable that layer mask there. So we see our background. So this is the mock-up. I'm not all the way sold on this yet. So this is the mock-up. I want to put a little drop shadow. You know, I'm all about these drop shadows and effects. And I don't pay too much attention to what each of these do, other than I'm just visually checking to see if it looks like something I want it to look like. And most of the time, if you get it right, you can copy and paste that layer style to the next sock. And I just want it to be a little subtle drop shadow. I'm going to go ahead and turn my front ones into a smart object. Now, here's the deal. I will have to do a separate mask for my front and back because more than likely, It might line up. Let's see. So I have the mask layer on for the back, and see how it's falling a little short here. I probably need a mask for the front and the back to make me really happy. Or I know what I can do. I can use this as an opportunity to make my front and back match up. So let me undo that smart object. I'm gonna do my best to make my front and back match up. Because like I said, these were photos, so it's not gonna be spot on. So I'm moving, trying to get it right on. And let's see. It's that rotation again. Rotate this one just a little. See, I'm trying to rotate it just a little and it won't let me be great. And then, let's see. I see this top right here. Let's see, I'm gonna go to edit, transform. I'm gonna warp this. You see what I'm doing when I'm warping it? I'm literally pulling, just like I would with the pen tool. I'm pulling on these nodes and these handles. And I'm kind of forcing the shape that I want it to be. Remember I told you I can make that top of that sock look straight if I wanted it to? That's what I'm doing right now. Making it look a little more straight. Like I said, if anybody's all up in your mock-up like this, they probably want problems. They want smoke, so I don't know if that's the type of customer you want to deal with anyway. But I'm just letting you know, I do care enough to make these type of changes. Alright, let's see. And they're good. Push that in just a little. And here's the thing, the more time you spend making this look good, the less time you have to spend you know, fixing it later, or just really regretting that you put it out there like that and always telling yourself you're gonna go back to it and then you never do. So all you're doing is really racking your brain every time you do have to use it because you're beating yourself up about the fact that you should have done it right the first time. And eventually I'll probably, you know, pay someone to do stuff like this for me because it does take up a lot of time and energy. And where my value is really best is helping you all on the template end of things, creating products that basically you can, you know, sell the moment you buy the template. If matter of fact, if you just put one of my templates on your page and you say, hey, I can make this, you know, contact me for details, I don't mind if you do that. As long as you're not selling the artwork or selling transfers, I'm okay with you using my mock-ups. As a matter of fact, I challenge you to do that and see, you know, how quickly you can get orders. All right, I'm just trying to make the sock match up with the edge of this print right now. I'm being a little too much, but hey, I think it makes a difference. And then the other thing is once you put that drop shadow on there, so I may have just a tiny bit of image hanging off, but once you put that drop shadow on, you won't see it. Let's see, I'm gonna zoom in, do the same thing to the other sock, and then at least I have one done tonight. I'll probably stay up and get them all done. What time is it? It's almost 10. And let me go ahead and save what I'm working on because I'm tripping. This thing still says Untitled. I am sure enough tripping. So let me put this in the template folder. Sock repeat pattern. Well, this isn't going to be a repeat pattern template, I don't think. I think this is just going to be a mock-up and template. Mock-up and blank template. All right. Now another way to do these type of patterns too is just to randomly place your images. Kind of use something like this as an example, and then just change your images around with smart objects. Now that actually is something that I've done before, and I've shown you how to do before. So the smart objects, without creating a pattern, can still create this effect. It's just that whenever you go back to, let's say, replace this head with anything that's long instead of more of a square image, then your orientation doesn't look right. You end up with spaces. So I have noticed, I know I was lazy at first trying to do it with smart objects. It looks so much better when you just create a pattern from scratch every single time. And it's going to look good every single time. You won't have to do any micro adjustments or macro adjustments, because one I tried to do, it was just totally off. Trying to fool around with my smart objects. All right, so I am on the right sock now. Yep. I'm gonna start off just shifting it, seeing if that helps. So that pretty much got me on to the edge there, but not towards the bottom. So Control T, we go. I'm gonna try shifting this just a smidge. So I'm trying to get a parallel line down there. If I get a parallel line, I know I'm pretty much on point. Then I'll just clean up a couple of areas that may or may not be over. All right, so now it's time to edit, transform. Let's do a warp. And there's also another one. The puppet warp can get really crazy. A puppet warp is what you use like if you're trying to make something look like it is going over, extreme contours and stuff. I use that for the mask when I want it to look like my image is wrapping over something a lot more 3D. This is virtually a flat image, so you don't even need to try that hard. And keep in mind, I'm just editing the photo. Everything else is staying in place. My print mask that I created, the bleed area is still the same. None of that's changed. I'm literally just going in and changing only my mock-up stuff so that I have a good clean mock-up. And I want to say I saw a mock-up for these things. The only reason why I didn't want to go with someone else's mock-up is because I felt like you need to know the difference in the sizing for the different socks so that you have an idea of what's going to get cut off with the smallest to the largest sock. And I got a little bit of that hanging off. Where's my handle for this? Is my handle all the way down here? It is. So I'm looking for my handle for that little curve right here, and it's all the way down here. So I'm doing my best to make up for where this image cuts off. Then I have another handle down here. Come on, baby. Hear my computer getting aggravated with me. This especially tends to happen when I'm doing live streaming and Photoshop. So if we happen to get cut off, just know that it wasn't something that I wanted unless I tell y'all about it. All right, so that looks about to be it. Got a little bit of color hanging out here by the bottom. There we go. Ooh, all right, child. That's it. And I'm just zooming out here just to get an idea of overall look. And I'll most likely take everything except for the background. So I'm going to leave the background out and move everything else as a group. Kind of center it here. And usually I'll see these little magenta lines pop up, but I think I turned my guides off. I did. View, show my guides. There we go. And the reason why I have these guys on there, and I'll bring the other images back once I create this, is I wanted to be clear about how much room you have to put important information. I call it my text safe and photo safe area. So I'll have those indicators on here as well. Even when I put those text safe, photo safe areas, some of y'all like to ignore ignore when I tell you to do that. But it's going to be really important for instance, if you wanted to make sure that the logo for the school was seen and someone's wearing a shoe and you put the logo too far down on the heel, it's going to print into the heel and not into the crew part of the sock, or the I guess it wouldn't be, I think that is considered it's still crew length, so it's not going to show in that area. And the customer may feel like you're not giving them what exactly it is that they paid for. So I definitely want to make sure that your mock-ups represent what you can actually produce. And let's see, these. This is probably what even if you can do the long ones, you're probably only going to mock up one size. I'm not going to lie to you. The only reason why I'm including the other sizes is not necessarily for mock-up as much as it is for you being able to accurately show them where an image would be placed. So for image placement, it's crucial for you. If I turn off front and back for the regular length, and let's turn on the long socks. I want to show you the difference. I think I only did the back so far. So if I'm going to lock in position the front and back, I'm going to go ahead and lock those so we don't move them around. And then I'm going to take these backs and I'm going to align the left edge there. Is it going to let me do it? One, two, three. Dang, I did not mean to select that. I mean Control D to deselect. 1, 2, 3. Let's line them up to the left. They're not lining up. One, and this one, I want to show you how different this is now. Very different. So if I put the small sock on top of, and let me go ahead and paste that layer style. Oh, I want the drop shadow, so I'm going to copy the layer style for the drop shadow. Paste it on the back. All right, so you see where that smaller sock cuts off? And if I make this sock less opaque, so I'll just make the fill less opaque. See, there's a big difference in how much space and where you have the space to showcase that design. So that's why I've been kind of lining them up by the heel. And then that way you'll know whether you have any space right above that heel to play with, or you got to get as close as you can to that top, especially with these smaller socks. Let's see, so that's 1, 2, back. I'm going to place it on top just for the sake of that back. I want to put the long back on top. And let's reduce the fill. We'll go ahead and paste the layer style so we see that drop shadow on there. And then I am also going to put this heel in the same location. And now you see with the longer sock, we have a lot more space to put at the bottom of the sock. So some of you are designing socks where you wanted to spell something at the bottom, right? Bring me if you're reading this, if you can read this, bring me a beer. You know, that's the kind of the foot prop up type of socks. You need to know how much space you have to even say that. Hopefully you can create one text safe area that'll be good for the youth, for the small, the medium, and the large sock. And that's kind of what I'm trying to help create here. Let me go ahead and unlock that one and this one. So we're going to move this all together. Everything except for the background. I think I'm missing my little sock. I need to put my little sock back on top. There we go. So this is the text safe area that I have for my little sock, and I'm still giving myself some room here. You don't want to bring text all the way into that black and then realize that you've cut off the last couple of letters in some text just because it's bleeding into the black. So this is what I'm doing now, is creating my text safe areas. I'll make a box and I won't do any fill, no fill. I will do a stroke and let's make it cyan, because we did the magenta for the bleed, and now for the safe area I'm going to do cyan. And I'm coming well within this area. So if we wanted to make this a universal safe area, I'm looking at about 2.6 and 4 high. So I'm going to redo that. 2.6 wide, 2.6 inches wide, and 4 inches high. And I have to put in the IN, otherwise it'll give me pixels. Okay, and see how I just created my box there? And I'm going to make this a little bit thicker here and force it to go to the outside edge instead of the inside edge. And I know that's my text safe area. Now, usually with text safe area, I make it a dotted line instead, so you know to turn it off. Okay. So I'll be working on cleaning this up for y'all. This is about 10 o'clock. I'm probably going to take a break, stretch a little bit, make my dinner, because I tend to be staying up late these days. And I'll finish this mock-up for you all. So let me know if y'all have any questions before I head out, because I definitely want to make sure I can help you out with those. Yes, as a matter of fact, let me see. What did I say? Okay. So the class that we're gonna do for the socks is gonna be, I'm doing three. I'm trying something out. Some of y'all said that y'all Pacific time, so it's really hard for y'all to get. I've even been setting late night classes, like setting classes up to start at 8 that end at almost 11. So we're gonna do three different classes. I'm gonna see, kind of how this goes. So Wednesday, some people have asked to do some during the daytime because they're saying, we're home all day. Let's get this daytime energy flowing. So 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific. So coast to coast is 10 a.m. on the West Coast. It's going to be 1 p.m. on the East Coast. Thursday, we'll do it at 10 p.m., which is really late, but I'm up late with y'all anyway. So that's going to be 7 p.m. Pacific time. So that'll help out the folks in the Pacific as well. And then Saturday, we'll just do 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is 10 Pacific. So Saturday, it should be a pretty open day as long as it's not a random day that you have to work. So I'm doing that on purpose. I'm also, let me show y'all. When I'll post it in the Innate Creatives group, but I've been working on something else for you all. And it is the actual academy.innatelab.com. So this is where we're going to officially host our classes and stuff. Y'all know me, I have to be about efficiency. So this was a platform that I found that we're able to host classes. We'll still use Zoom to do the live interactive courses. That's the best method for that. But this allows us to do a membership. You all talked about the fact that you wanted a membership. So I have two options. There's a $30 a month membership. And with that, now you can always just buy the courses, buy the templates, however you want to. I'm going to always keep that, available for you all. This membership is for those who really feel like, hey, I've been spending a lot of money with Shanon, and I would love a way to kind of get some type of bundle type of deal, and that's what this is. So for $30 a month, you get access to 4 pre-recorded courses. Now, usually the pre-recorded courses are $50 because they always come with the template, so I just can't give those away. So you'll get 4 of those pre-recorded courses, and if you sign up right now, you'll get the 4 courses that are already ready. 101, 102, and 101, 102, 103, and 104. Okay, this is also where you go right now to get the free retail store mock-up. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, so this is a $200 value. So every single month, and what happens is it unlocks. So your first month, you're going to get lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your second month, you'll get lessons 5, 6, 7, and 8. So with you all coming in, you'll kind of be like a cohort. Whenever you come into a session, the people that come in at the same time will have access to the same course content as you, and then it kind of rolls into the next month. So the next group coming in the next month will get those classes 1, 2, 3, 4 as their first contact with these courses. So what really ends up happening is you all grow together, you learn together, and then that way I end up with some intermediate, so I can start offering the 200 level courses and the 300 level courses, which is intermediate and advanced. So I'm guaranteeing that every single month, there's going to be at least 4 courses. So every week we will have at least 1 course. I'm just making it a minimum for me so that you all know what to expect. So there may be some months where we have more than 4 courses. I hope that. But I'm just letting you know that you at least have 4 pre-recorded classes, and it comes with the templates. And if they're paid fonts, it'll come with the fonts. I have one that comes with the brush pack. So literally, if you spend $30 a month on templates, this will be worth it because you'll get 4 courses, 4 templates. 4 templates is $80. So I probably should have put that value in there. But anyhow, just letting y'all know that's the $30 one. The $60 one gives you $60 credit towards 1 live course every month. So you can actually take a live class. So this pays for itself just by attending 1 live class and paying for this monthly membership. But you also get access to the pre-recorded classes, the same ones as the $30 a month. So you get the $60 towards your live class, and you have access. Let's say you can only afford to do the $60 a month or the $30 a month. I'm just trying to show you that I have a way for you to continually get the knowledge, have the templates, because I can't give this stuff away on YouTube because literally I'm including my templates with it. So they have value. I know that a lot of you have said it's probably worth a lot more than this, but I really wanted to do something that was affordable. I still will have my classes. If you look down here, you can purchase the pre-recorded classes for $50 with no kind of membership fee or anything like that. And I'm still going to do my live class. I have to change this one. This is going to be a live course. The live classes are going to be 60. The replay is going to be 50. Okay. Unless you do the membership, and then of course you'll roll out. But the thing is, you have to continually do the membership. Otherwise, you can download everything at one time. So you'll get access. It'll unlock 4 courses every month, and more than likely, that's the most that we have time for. I can't even find time to teach more than 1 or 2 courses a week. So I know that that's enough time for you to absorb that information, go on to the next course. So every single week, it's going to open up after your first one. So the first one, first access, you'll get all 4 courses opened up, all 4 of these. And then every week after that, a new course will drip. So every single week, you'll have access to a new course. So you'll have something to do, something to keep up on, something to learn. And I want you all to give me hints in the NA Creatives group. Let me know what you want to learn. If it's a template, if it's, basically a type of product that I don't have out yet, but you want to learn how to work with, I got you on all of that. Okay. And I'm still going to continue to do my free videos too, like I'm doing now. That's a part of me giving back as well. Now, all of the live classes, every last live class is going to be $60, and I have to tell y'all why. Because when I do classes for less than $60, it drastically drains me, and it makes it a video that I can't even publish as a course class because um, it's so all over the place, and we have to worry about creating quality content and that quality level of commitment that's required for those courses. And on top of that, if I block down a 3-hour block, I really want to make sure that that I'm being compensated accordingly, because there are times where I'll block out 3 hours and have one person in the class. So I want to make sure, or a time where I have more than 20 people in the class, and it's just because it was a $20 class, I could have done it with less people and had it way more structured, way more streamlined, had, quality instruction, quality learning. That's what I'm all about. I don't care as much about the numbers as I do about the quality of what you're getting. And I want you to know that if you spend $60 with me for a session, that you're going to come out with a final product by the end of that session. It's not that, oh, you learned a little bit, go home and try to do it. No, by the end of that session, you will have something in hand. Well, as far as digitally, of course, you'll have a finished product before you hang up on that Zoom session. Okay. And then if you feel like you need more time, do the pre-recorded session, because then you can still see everybody else's issues. I underestimated how much you all like to see other people's errors, because it helps you learn. Like when they get stuck on something, you can be like, oh, that's why that happened. Versus me doing my tutorial videos, I'm not making the errors for the most part. I'm straight up showing you everything you should be doing. So when you get stuck somewhere, you don't know how to push past, because it's not a typical, I'm not at that area where I'm typically making those same type of errors that you might be making. But the newbies are, and y'all learn all the time from one another. Y'all teach me stuff just from having to problem solve. So those live courses, they help me learn, and they help y'all learn as well. So you have live, you have pre-recorded, and then if you really want something for around $30, do the membership. You'll get the 4 classes for $30 a month, and I don't know how much more I can kind of discount the process to make it still have high value and high impact, and be affordable. So I promise y'all, I really did think about this and how I can make this learning more affordable for you all. So our class will be up tomorrow. I'll announce it in the Innate Creatives group. I'll post the link and everything. Um, and you'll go to it, I think, let's view this one. So it'll tell you what comes with the class. So if you buy this class, it comes with a video and 2 files. So you'll have the video. It tells you how long it is, 3 hours, 26 minutes. You'll have the Photoshop file, and then this is your course file. And then there's a little quiz. I started creating this quiz to ask y'all if y'all did y'all's homework before we start a session. So y'all are going to see that quiz. It's going to be something new to you. But when you click on that quiz and it asks you, did you do your homework? You're going to have to select no, and you're going to have to feel bad about it. And I'm not going to feel bad when I tell you that we can't do the interactive session with you if you don't have your homework done. So it's been too many times where we've had to slow down the entire session to help with like dual screens, and not saying that I don't want to help you all, but you have a lot of people who are there ready to rock and roll, and they have to wait on us to get screens together, or do some stuff like download fonts, things that should have been done before class. So I always make it clear what I expect you to do before class, and that's always in that course document. I even put the links in there for y'all. I even made some videos. Everything that I ask you to do that I don't walk you through, I make a video saying, hey, this is how you download a font. Hey, this is how you install the font, etc. Okay? So come on, y'all. I need us to work together so we can all be great together, okay? Well, all right, loves. Let's see. I'm gonna go back. I might do the pre-recorded sessions. Trying to see when that would be available. So the other thing about the pre-recorded sessions is that in order to give priority to the live folks, they end up usually with the content first and the whatever templates or whatever special we do first, and then I wait like a whole week to make it available to everyone else. So then that way the people that do the live classes are investing a little bit more. They kind of have a heads up. Like for this template, for the birthday theme template, the people that did this class had the template a whole week earlier than anyone else. So I like to do that because I want there to be some exclusivity in the people that really are staying on top of their game. I want it to be, a little bit of a competitive advantage. I feel like it's worth that. This one, I think I waited 2 weeks to put this one out. So the people who did this live session had this template a whole 2 weeks before anybody else can get their hands on it. Okay. Critical. When will this go live? It's technically don't go to it right now, but it's live right now. I'm gonna announce it tomorrow officially, and don't do it yet because I have a raffle for the Epson Eco Tank 15,000, and basically people can either purchase a ticket or they can sign up for this membership, and it either one of those or both of those or however you want to say it will count as a ticket. So we're going to do that, announce it tomorrow, and then we'll give it a week for everybody to get their tickets up, and then we'll raffle off the 15,000 full of sublimation ink, true color sublimation ink, of course. It'll have socks to come with it, masks, dog tags, license plates, and I can't think. I think there's one more substrate that we're going to include with it, and they're all substrates that I have to distribute. So I'll be able to tell you, exactly what they do. So that's going to be like a cool package to give out. So yeah, and I know the 15,000s are like nowhere to be found right now. So whenever you get it, you'll be ready to roll. All right. So y'all have any more questions or even input? Like I'm here to listen to y'all too. Oh, that freebie is on there. So if you want to go on there and get the freebie, go ahead and get the freebie. I put that on there so that y'all know how this works. If you go to view course there, It's gonna make you like log in, so, but you can access it for free. And it has the video, but let's see, let me see if it'll let me do it in front of y'all. So you'll have to sign in. Let me see if it'll let me sign in. No, well, I guess I didn't save my login. So, anyways, you'll be able to sign in and download those. So you'll get the process. So if y'all want to, y'all will be the exclusive because I have not announced this to the group. I don't intend on announcing this to the group tonight. It's too late in the day for me to be answering random questions. So go ahead and grab that. It's on there. I'm taking it off the regular website because I'm going to drive all course related things to this site. It seems to be a lot more user friendly. It is easier to keep up with the folks who are ordering which classes and which files and that sort of thing. So this is how we're going to do it. From here on out, academy.innatelab.com. And I'll copy and paste it. There we go. Now, if you want all 4 of those, I need to test this, so I'm gonna test it as soon as I get off with y'all. I wanted to show y'all I was working on this sock thing though. But if I go back to the academy, I'm gonna test out the membership. But as soon as you sign up for the $30 a month, you immediately get all 4 of these classes. So all 4 of those classes also means 4 different templates. Okay, so let me tell y'all what each one comes with. This one comes with the oh, I meant to change that the image up too. Yeah, I'll change it later. But this one comes with the brushes, which is a $20 deal. It comes with, I think, of one font that's $3, the blank shirt template, and of course the video. So that one comes with at least $20 worth of templates and stuff. I think it's 23. And then this one comes with a $20 template. Of course, I know some of you have been seeing this one recently in the group. So that one comes with a free template. The airbrush one comes with a free template. And the shark one comes with a free template. So literally, you get your money's worth just in templates, not including the actual video instruction. Okay. So like I said, I really was trying to make this something that maybe the people that can't come to the classes can still take advantage of. And you can cancel it. But you have to be the one canceling. Y'all can't be messaging me, asking me to cancel stuff for y'all, because y'all know how these membership things work. It has to be something you cancel, you sign up for. If it's something that you have to cancel so that you don't have recurring fees, that's your business. I'm not going to hold it against you. If you get it for 1 month and cancel it, that's on you. So I'm just letting you know that I made it very easy to introduce this, this type of membership to you all. And I listened to you. Y'all said y'all wanted something for $30 a month. I tried to pack as much as I could into a $30 a month membership. And Tori, for the sock course, ankle and no-show socks, basically it would be the same exact thing. When you're thinking about socks, you're thinking about what is my printable area. So you could do exactly what I was saying. You can actually take a photo of the socks or take a mock-up from somewhere else and pull it in and just make sure that you create it to scale. So all you're going to be printing out is, let me turn off. Let's turn on the mask here. Let's turn off this mask. And when you get ready to print, you're going to turn that off. This is what you're going to print. So as you can imagine, your no-show socks should fit in there. Your ankle socks should fit in there. You're going to print this one file, and it will be able to print the long socks, the large socks, the medium socks, and the small socks, as well as anything in between, as long as it stretches out to about this size. Now, if you're using those jigs, the jigs kind of stretch a little bit wider. I think they may stretch to 4 inches, so you may need 4.5 inches. So you may need to account for an extra bleed area. And if that's the case, you just make it work. So if I were to, let me see, right now I'm going to do my canvas size just so I can show y'all. So canvas size, I'm going to tell it I'm going to do 13 by 19. So you can see how much paper this takes up when you print this to 13 by 19. And it's going to tell me it's going to clip. And it's fine as long as I don't have on my delete pixels. All right, so move everything except for the background here. And you see how that's going to print the, as a matter of fact, for the very tall socks, I'm not even going, I'm going to tell you just to go ahead and print this. Yeah, I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to make just a straight up square. So we don't have any possibility whatsoever. It's going to be, what did I say, 8.5 inches. And then the height's going to be 18.5. Oh, duh, it did pixels. Let me undo that. Let's try it one more again. 8.5 inches. How do I do 8.8? 8.5 inches. And then the height's going to be 18.5. So you have a little bit of bleed area, top and bottom. And say okay. And let me move this over a little bit. Now we'll fill it. And let me go ahead and rasterize that layer. I'm going to delete this layer mask and create a new layer mask. And that's it. So literally you print out this rectangle. See how easy that's going to be? And then if you don't need this height, then cut it off. Like you don't need this entire thing to print those little kid socks. So maybe I doubt I'll make an extra layer mask for every size sock. I doubt it. All right, any more questions, loves? I'm glad y'all are asking these questions because they help me build better templates. I promise y'all, it helps me to be sitting here late night designing with you all. Let's see. Let me show you one more time how to switch up that pattern. You know what? Let's see. I can change it from here. Yep. I'll change it back to the little puppy there. And we'll see what it looks like on the puppy. Right click, disable that layer mask, and then enable this layer mask. And now I have it, my puppy design. But did you see what I'm saying? Like if you thought that puppy's face wasn't going to be covered up by the heels, you'd be sadly mistaken. So that's why I need to create this, you know, this kind of text safe and photo safe area. So at least you want to get, if nothing else, get his eyes, get his, you know, main face, that's the baby or the puppy or whatever, in this area. That way you don't just end up with something that looks, you know, kind of off by the time somebody has it on foot. So Tori, yeah, definitely, even for the kid socks, what you'll do is you'll just place it inside of the graphic. So your kid socks, you're going to understand that they may not be as wide. I would even use these same jigs. The kid socks that I do, my niece and nephew can wear them, and they are 7 and 9. So trying to think of shoe sizes right now, probably 2, 3. kind of size, but they could even go a little bit smaller than that. I would say what you can't do is maybe like something smaller than a toddler would be way too, way too big. But I'll video the process too, and you'll see it in my hand, and maybe even get a chance to visualize it. So yeah, and then the little kid socks. I haven't decided to offer those yet, but I may do the young toddler size and the infant size. So that, like I said, that's down the road. If these do really well, then I'll consider having those manufactured as well. Oh, thanks, Chrissy Poo. That means a lot to me. She says, my dad can't be anything but proud of you. You're already receiving your overflow. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know if you say that because he used to preach to me too about like helping and trying to do so much when your cup is half empty. And he would preach that, but he was the exact same way, kind of apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So helping people when you have your overflow is a blessing not only to them but to you too. It's that symbiotic relationship, and I definitely y'all are keeping me booked and busy. I'm so elated for that. I'm never gonna complain about how well our relationship is going as far as you helping me helping you. It's been a beautiful thing. I've never experienced that until now. Like usually, you know how we are, especially as creatives. We're going out on a limb for everybody else. We're looking crazy when it comes time for us to look nice for something because we didn't got everybody else looking nice. I remember my prom night. I messed up my nails and my dress, helping my cousin do her nails because she was like panicking because her nails didn't turn out nice. And I had my nice airbrush, and I never got nails done, so I had my little airbrush acrylics, and I had my little acetate organza dress, and I had fingernail polish remover trying to fix her nails. It took off all the airbrush off of my nails, spilled on my dress, and it was acetate. So it literally ate up my underlayer of my dress and turned it hard and crispy. And I did all that trying to help somebody else while we were on the car ride. Did we have a limousine or no? I can't remember. But we were on the car ride to our prom. So that's pretty much been my life, and it's good to be able to reap the benefits while you can help people. It's a totally different feeling. That's cool, Tori. She says, since she's gotten the template and done the classes, she's got orders, especially the airbrush design. That's what's up. That's what I'm here for. That's why I want to hear what you want to learn, because if it's something that you like, man, that's a fire design, but I don't really know how to do it. Let me know. I will teach a class, even if it's on a template. I'm not above teaching a class on a template that I already put out an hour-long video for y'all, just to let y'all know every template has an hour-long video to tell you how to work it. But these classes just do something different for people, and I'm all about that. Vegan Life, don't sign up for the academy till tomorrow, okay? So I can I can make sure I want to work out the kinks tonight, make sure nobody has any hangups. I'm gonna literally use my card to pay for it myself to make sure everything goes through right, and that I have access to all the courses. Like I say, you're gonna have access to the courses. I'm gonna do my little troubleshooting tonight, but it's gonna be live tomorrow. Like the academy is like really here, and I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I went to the PhD level so that I could become a professor. And I feel just as fulfilled now as I could have imagined being a professor at some, prestigious university. So I want to let y'all know that I feel what you're feeling. And it's real, and I'm here. As long as too many people ain't cheating and selling my files out there in the world, which is a whole nother issue and the reason why I had to get this site, um, then we can maintain this relationship. Lavinia, any of the Photoshop classes that start with a one? That's a great question. She asked, she's a newbie. What class should she start with? I promise you, anything that starts with a one, you can do, because I start all of those courses with newbies, like people who've never even opened up Photoshop before. The airbrush class is a good one. Any of those courses, the one that has four images, is a little more complex because it has 4 images. But every other one, I tell you to, hey, bring one image. We're going to, fade off the images. We're going to change the text. We're going to change the colors. And bam, you have a brand new design. I appreciate that, Lavinia. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm telling you that this is going to be our year. It is not over yet. There's so much for us to do and to prove and to get suited up for. And this is our time as entrepreneurs. Like I said, I'm pushing to what I feel is my level of expectation. It's not even like a nah, this ain't even the highest of the high right now. We're pushing as expected. So I'm expected even to grow with you all. All right, so y'all keep pushing me, literally. Keep pushing me. All right, love. So any other questions? Y'all have any other questions? All right. And Vegan Life, I'm checking my email as soon as I get off of here, okay? So I'm not forgetting about you. All right, loves. Well, it's been wonderful having you all sit with me tonight while I got a little work done. It's like, one of those things you procrastinate with, but as long as you have somebody watching you, you get it done. So I appreciate it. And I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow about the Innate Academy, the memberships, and also the raffle. So if I forget about the raffle, somebody will remind me. So y'all remind me about this announcing this raffle tomorrow, okay? Hey, Mentor says, I want to learn all I can. That's that's the plan. I never stop learning. I got multiple degrees, and I still will not cease learning. Good night, loves. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, and good night. I love y'all for real. I'll check out tomorrow. Bye.